Okay, for the recording for today, the kids are working on a practice problem. I'll show you what we decided to start with. Here is what I think is the hardest thing on the test. When they ask you to find the vertex for this, because it's not in vertex form. So I suggested that the kids had to multiply this out. Like, they had to go this times this, the outside and the inside, and then the lasts. And then at the end, everything has to get multiplied by -1. We leave that till the end. Once we get it all written out, that'll be called standard form. What it started in was factored form, but we want it in standard form. So we get this all multiplied out, and then we'll see if anybody remembers how to find the vertex. Did anybody get x squared plus x minus 12? Raise your hand if you got that far. All right. That's what you should have got. But then you multiply everything by a negative. This negative actually gets multiplied in, and your final answer would be y equals -x squared minus x plus 12. That got complicated. That's what I'm most afraid for you on for the test. Is there any part of that where you don't get where you got something? Like, I don't get where you got the x, or I don't get where you got the, how come it turned negative, or any of that? Need explanation? Yes?
Can that be 1x?
Yes, you can totally put a 1 right here, but you don't have to. All right, now that we have gotten here, that's called standard form. And what's standard form good for? That's something special. It's the what? Y-intercept. Very good. Okay. It's got a negative in front. And I tried to make you memorize negmax. Because if there's a negative in front, this one will have a maximum. Like, the highest spot on it is the vertex. Because there's a negative, it's upside down like this. So if there's a negative in front, you know your parabola is upside down, and it'll have a max. Okay, we could have actually known that from the other one, because the other one had a negative in front too. So we should also known that that one had a maximum. But where the heck is the vertex? Is anybody thinking -b over 2a? Because that's the easiest way. Otherwise, you just have to graph a whole bunch of points and see which one is the highest one. You know, which one's different than all the others. So you'd have to make 1,000,000 points and finally go, oh, there's the highest one. But this -b over 2a works really well. Would everybody please take a second and try to figure out what's -b divided by 2 times a? That forces you to know what's a and what's b. Ian, what is A and what is B and what is C?
B would be 1.
Close.
What?
B would not be 1.
-1?
Yep, right there. B would be -1. Now, when we do -b, then it'll change to 1. But regular...
To choose like the...
Just let's make sure you get A, B, and C. What's A then?
A as well. A would be 1.
Close.
-1.
Yes, that matters. The negatives totally matter. So A is -1, B is -1, and C is 12. Do you get how the negatives matter on this? You can't just like ignore the negative. That matters. So A is -1, B is -1, and C is 12. Okay, so do you remember me telling you that it's -b over 2a? You don't have to find the vertex that way. You could find 1,000,000 points and find the highest one, but Negative b makes -1, but it's negative of -1. What? Because there's a negative in the formula and there's a negative on b. So there's two negatives. Over 2 times -1, because a is -1. And that simplifies to 1 over -2, aka x equals -1/2. Does that look like an axis of symmetry to you? Because it is. That is the x of the vertex, and it came from -b over 2a. I know, that was hard. That's why I'm scared about that on the test. Let's do another one that's like that. Everybody write this down. Y equals x squared plus 12x minus 1. What form is that in? Nope, that is not factored. Try again. Standard. There we go. That's standard form. Okay. Standard form tells you the y-intercept, and which is, in this case, what? -1. Okay. Now, what's A, B, and C? Everybody get comfortable with what is A, what's B, what's C? Megan Peterson, what's A? 1. What is B? Yep, 1, 12, and what's C? -1. Okay, good. Now, do -b over 2a to get that vertex. That's the thing I'm most scared about. Can you do it? So -12 over 2 times 1, which is 2. So that's -12 divided by 2, which is -6. Raise your hand if you had -6. Awesome. Now, I hope you get that that is not the vertex all by itself. That's the x part of the vertex. So -6 comma what? Well, I need to go my xy chart. And I go, okay, I guess I want to put in -6 and see what I get. Everybody, please do that. I know the numbers get kind of big, but that's what you'd have to do. You would have a calculator. If x is -6, it goes here and here. And I'd get 36 minus 72 minus 1. That comes out to -36 minus 1 is -37. Did anybody beat me to that? I'm impressed. The stuff I circled in red, that's how I got the -37. You would have had a calculator, so you could have used a calc to do it. Okay. Just to make sure you get what you're supposed to do on these, you would have to find like 6 points. I don't want to do 6, it'll take too much time. But everybody just put in 1 and 0. We want to at least have 3 points. So we got -6 comma -37, and that's a ridiculously big point. That would be where the vertex would have been, though. Now can you get a simpler one, like put 1 in it? I'll write you the original one because it's kind of gotten lost. The original one was x squared plus 12x minus 1. All right, so my job is to teach you this stuff, and your job is to learn it and stuff, but I can at least give you good advice. I want to warn you that when tonight you're going to have a choice to whether to study for this test or not. I get the feeling that most of you are going to be fine, but there's a few of you that are going to be really lost. You will have to either buckle down and really study this tonight and go rewatch the review videos and stuff, or you're going to just go, oh, I guess I'm going to bomb this test. If you put in an extra 15 minutes, it'll save you having to retake a test. just put in an extra 15 minutes of study tonight. And it probably will mean you won't have to retake it. It's your life. But if you bomb this test tomorrow, then that means you got to come in the morning and do corrections. That's like a whole morning. And then, on a different morning, you have to come in and take the retake. All right. Yes?
It's supposed to be 12x.
Oh, yes, there is an X right there. Thank you. Okay. So, if I put in a 1, it goes right here and here. And I get 1 plus 12 is 13 minus 1 is 12. Who had 1 comma 12? Raise your hand if you did. Okay, good. You're on the right track then. And 0 is the easiest thing to put in. Because do you get that? Cancels out this and this. And I just get negative 1. 0 comma negative 1. Right? I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Do you get 3 points is probably not enough to be able to see where the graph goes. But if you had 6 points, I'd be able to be pretty sure that you got it. So if you're struggling on the test, like, I don't see it. Like, let's say you're graphing and it goes doot, doot, doot. And you're like, it hasn't like made a parabola yet. We'll keep going and make more dots. And then maybe it will go around the corner and then you'll see, okay, now I see where it is. And if you have one dot that's like over there, it's probably wrong. You know, like if there's one that doesn't seem to follow the pattern, you probably did it wrong. So go stick the number in and be really careful with your negatives especially. All right, so now, what's our job? Today we have this worksheet that has like a quiz on this half and a quiz on that half. I said scribble out the right side and just do the left side. We're gonna have you do that in class. It's gonna be take now and then part of second half of class after lunch, and we'll get that all finished, and then I'll read you the answers. And then you can go, oh crap, I would have got number 2 and 3 wrong. And then hopefully, when you tonight go back, you can do this other side later. Don't do it now, but we'll do this other side later as the rest of your homework. And then you'll have had a chance to redo the ones you had wrong, and hopefully by then you'll have learned everything. Okay, so we're just gonna have time. You'd never finish if I said to do them all in class right now. So just do the left side for now. And then I'll read you the answers after break. And your assignment will be to finish it. And I might do something with like problems that you got right the first time you don't have to do on the second one or something like that. So just do as best you can on this first one. Now, I will help. If you are stuck on one, please walk up and go, yeah, I'm lost. I don't remember how to do this. But just to make sure you get going in the right foot here, to get this vertex, you don't have to multiply it all out. You could, but it'd be the super slow way. Because this is in vertex form. It's just sitting right there. This kind, x-intercepts, that's just x equals this and x equals that. They're super easy. This kind, pain in the butt. Got to multiply them all out. First, outside, inside, lasts, you know. This kind, negative b over 2a. This kind, you're looking at this graph and you're trying to figure out the domain of this. Domain means this way and this way. Range means low to high, like that. The increasing, the blue part is increasing. So how do you say that? Interval. And the rest of it that I didn't put in blue, that's the decreasing part. Has to do with this dot right there, which if you're having trouble reading it, is at 2 comma 5. Because that's the vertex. All right, there's my hints. You have a bunch of work time. I'll pause for a second. So we are back from lunch, and the question I've been asked the most is about increasing and decreasing interval. So let me try to explain that to you. So the vertex is the key spot there for the intervals. This vertex is at 2 comma 5. For increasing and decreasing interval, you only use the x. That 2 is the only thing that matters. So it's like there's a line right there. It's called the axis of symmetry at x equals 2. And on one side of that line, it's increasing. See over here, that's increasing. So how do I say that part? Well, it increases from negative infinity, like way over here, all the way until it hits 2. That's how you do increasing interval. All right, do you get how I only used the x of that, not the 5, just the 2? That's for the increasing interval. The decreasing interval starts at 2 and keeps going forever because it keeps decreasing as you keep moving that way forever. So it's 2 to infinity. Okay, now on intervals, you can just put parentheses around the whole thing. That's weird because in domain and range, the brackets kind of matter, but not on intervals. On intervals, you could just put them all in parentheses. Okay, so there was your increasing and decreasing interval. That's what I got asked the most. All right, so here's a recap of the actual answers for this first part. Imagine this was the test. See how you would have done. The vertex here was 5, 2. That was kind of a no-brainer. Just take the opposite of this number. All right, then this one is x equals 2 and x equals 6. It's the things that make it equal 0. Well, this part's a little more complicated. 2x minus 3 has to equal 0. And then you solve it, and you get 2x equals 3 and x equals 3 over 2. Raise your hand if you had 3 over 2. Awesome. The other one is 6x plus 5 has to equal 0. 6x has to equal negative 5. X has to equal negative 5 over 6. Those are just little two-step equations. You've been doing those since the beginning of the year. Easy. If you know that you set them equal to 0, it's easy. Okay. Next thing is this part where you have to multiply these out, where I thought you guys would be like super good at it, but it turned out that people weren't really good at it, but now hopefully you are. X squared outside 5x inside negative 1x and lasts negative 5. Put it all together, x squared plus 4x, because these two make 4x minus 5. And that is standard form. Who had that one right? Good. This last one, if you multiply it out, a really common mistake is to go, oh, it's just x squared plus 9. No, it's not. It is not. You have to do x minus 3 and x minus 3. And then you'll see what you get, and it's not x squared plus 9. It's x squared outside inside, x squared minus 3x minus another 3x makes minus 6x plus 9. And then we have this little plus 1 at the end, and that makes the final answer, x squared minus 6x plus 10. So what was good about this? It had the vertex built in. What was good about this? It has the y-intercept built in, and I know A is 1 and B is negative 6 and C is 10. This is better for finding the y or the vertex. They didn't make you, but if you had to, I hope you can keep on saying this until it sticks in your head. Negative B over 2A. So it would have been negative 6 over 2 times 1, which is 2. So it would have been 3. And x equals 3 would have been the key thing to put into the chart if you had to. They didn't say you had to. Okay, for here, to find the vertex, negative b over 2a. And that's x, remember. Don't forget the x equals. And now it's negative 6 over 2, which is negative 3. So x equals negative 3 is the axis of symmetry. But the vertex is, when you make the xy chart and you put in negative 3, what do you get? Negative 3 goes in here and here. And this one's 9 and this one's negative 18. 9 minus, no wait, there's two negative. No, just one negative. 9 minus 18 plus 1. And then that makes negative 9 plus 1. And negative 9 plus 1. Final answer? Negative 8. Raise your hand if you had. Negative 8. Okay, good. I heard some spirited debate about that one. I know it's the negatives that probably got you. Okay, and then the domain on this one, the domain, I got an easy answer for you. One easy answer on the test. For every single domain for a parabola, every single time, it's negative inf to positive inf.
Do we have to write inf?
Nope, you can write the little sideways, you know, like that, like an 8 sideways, the infinity symbol. I'm fine with that. All right, And then the range. The range is from low to high. If I were you, I might write it out to make sure I didn't put it down backwards. The low number has to be first. So that's negative infinity is the low. That's the lowest it goes. To the highest it goes, that's the 5. Notice range is about the y value. It's not the 2. The highest it goes is 5. Increasing interval, we already covered that. That's the increasing interval. And this one's the decreasing from 2 to infinity. Okay, now, there's another half of this thing. So your assignment for tonight is just to finish this. Now, I looked at some papers, and some of you have got this down. You are like locked in. You're going to get an A tomorrow, and that's awesome. You can just finish this worksheet and be done. But for those of you that find yourself like struggling a little bit, there is a thing called the ladder. It is not required, but in the folder there's a thing called ladder, and you can go in there and find problem of the kind that you want to practice, and then there's a key for it in the end of the ladder folder. Okay, so that's just like extra practice. You don't have to do it. What you have to do is this, which is just another set of problems like we just practiced. Okay, and then that's your homework, and it's just that one worksheet, and I will open up a Dropbox because this one's more important than the others because it's your last review before the test tomorrow. Okay, all right, that's all I have for the video for today.